Identity-Affirming Classrooms, Spaces That Center Humanity. This book was written by Dr. Buchanan Rivera, known by many of us as Dr. EBR. I like this book so much that it's a book that I'm using with the class that I'm teaching right now at the college level. That class is teaching and learning in middle school. But something else that you should know about Dr. EBR is that she used to be the Director of Equity and Inclusion in Washington Township Schools. Washington Township Schools is a school district I used to work in. I have lived in this school district for over a decade, and my kids have been in schools in Washington Township since kindergarten. They are now in 7th grade, and yes, I'm saying they because I have twins. And now she no longer works in the district. And I am frustrated, I'm angry because the narrative around that is all wrong. So let's get into why it's wrong. And before I get into that, buy this book. You need to buy that book. I met Dr. EBR when I joined the Community Coalition. The Community Coalition is a group of various stakeholders that include district staff, community members, parents, and people from different organizations, such as healthcare, different groups like the Jewish Community Center. We all come and work together to help support the students and staff in Washington Township. This coalition was created, I would say, with the role, because when the equity and inclusion role was created in Washington Township, Dr. EBR's role led that group. I was skeptical about joining this group because I've been in so many groups where we're going to help students, we're going to help kids, we're going to do equity work, and all we do is talk and argue and pat ourselves on the back and nothing is done. So I even took the step to meet with her to say this. I said, I'm on this committee because Dr. Woodson told me I should join. And she told me I should join because I was at several other meetings expressing some concerns, in particular about Black students in the district. And so she said to me, be part of the solution. Because, what I actually heard was, you're complaining too much, so come in and help us. I'm like, bet, I can do that. And so I told her, I said, if this committee turns out to be one of these fluff, feel-good things and we don't do stuff, I'm going to be gone. Well, I stayed on the committee. I'm still on the committee now, even though she's no longer in the district, because we actually were doing things. We were doing the work. Did we do as much as I wanted to do? No, but we did things. There are tangible things that we completed, and I was excited about that. So, of course, I was devastated when I learned that she had resigned from the district. So I'm going to go back to May. In May was the Black Excellence in Education Awards. I am on that committee. I've been on that committee for the last few years. We recognize Dr. EBR for her leadership in the community and the work that she does, because not only does she do equity work within her role in a K-12 school, because she did equity work in our previous school district, she does stuff outside of that. So we wanted to really recognize her leadership. Sometime after we recognized her, that's when I found out that she was resigning from the school district. And I was devastated because I'm like, why? You're doing so much work. How about I read to you what she wrote on her website? So pay close attention to what happened before Dr. EBR resigned. She writes, near the end of the school year, my school district leadership team and I learned that our roles for the upcoming year would potentially change. When a meeting was held to discuss the reorganization of roles, I noticed that my position was not listed on any of the tentative organizational flowcharts. As a spiritual person, I believe this was my sign. In the weeks to come, I learned that I would be reassigned to a different leadership role, e.g., title, responsibilities, etc., while still being held responsible for district DEI efforts. After expressing concerns with the change and exploring alternative options, I made the hard choice last month to resign due to my passion, research, and work on a national level, knowing that the change would impair my ability to do DEI work as reflected in my history and scholarship. Importantly, the new role would have taken me into a different direction, and it did not align with where I wanted to be at this moment in my life. When I read that for the first time, I found it quite disturbing. The fact that you're sitting in a meeting with your peers and you see that the current position that you have is not listed on the chart. That is not a way for a person to discover that their role is going to change, or their role as it is no longer going to exist in the district. Now, I don't know if there were any other conversations had outside of this meeting or what else occurred, but to me, if I was in that situation, I would find that quite jarring. Now let's look at what happened after Dr. EBR resigned. So she resigns, she finishes out last school year. Her last day was June 30th, and then the next school year begins. Many teachers didn't know that she wasn't coming back. Many people in the community didn't know that this role was no longer going to exist. As a writer at Indie Kids Winning, I eventually go to write an article about this, and I did quote what I just read to you there. And that's how many people, even in my immediate circle, found out that she had resigned from the district. As a parent in the district, I don't want to have to find out through the grapevine that there are role changes. I don't want to find out through the grapevine that we are reorganizing. Because after Dr. EBR resigned, if you go to the Washington Township website, you will see that the page of the district leadership has changed, and under several people's names, DEI work was added. And under the list, like, it's everybody's work. Now, don't get me wrong. DEI work is everyone's work, but let me explain it to y'all like this. My background is multilingual learners. That's what my master's is in. I've been an ENL teacher. My doctorate was in literacy, culture, and language education. So that is my jam. I supervise all the ENL student teachers at IU Indy. So that's what I do. And I say to people, multilingual learners are everybody's students. That is so true. But it also means that we need an expert in those strategies in our schools, helping, coaching, making sure things are happening correctly. So when people say, oh, we don't need this DEI role because it's everybody's work, that is just a cop-out. That is just a lame way to say that you're caving to public pressure and you're eliminating the role, just like people across America, organizations across America are eliminating roles. See, I could understand it if y'all was just honest and say, we don't think this role is needed anymore. But to come out and say it's everybody's work, yeah, serving special education students is everybody's work. But we're going to have special education teachers who have an expertise in writing IEPs and knowing how goals should be met and providing strategies and accommodations and modifications. We're not going to say, oh, we don't need special education teachers anymore because it's everybody's work. And that is the same energy we need to keep for equity and inclusion work. Yes, it's everybody's work, but we need someone there that is helping us make sure that it becomes embedded in us so it doesn't become a checklist. It becomes a way of thinking. We need someone with the expertise, the scholarship, the research that knows what they're doing. And I'm going to assert to you today that Dr. Erica Buchanan Rivera was that lady. She knew what she was doing. There is no reason why her role needed to be redesigned and added on other things. Because when we start adding all these other things to people's plate, they can't get their job done in the most effective way. So Monday was the first meeting of the Community Coalition of this school year. And before I drove out to my son's school, because that happened to be the location of the first meeting, I saw this post drop on Facebook. Washington Township Schools is pleased to announce the posting and launch of the hiring process for a Chief Academic and DEI Officer, a new position reimagined for maximum support of our district goals of equitable achievement. Find details of the position here. And I'm like, this timing is interesting. This gets dropped right before this meeting. And of course, when I go to the meeting, you have several district personnel at this meeting, including the superintendent of Washington Township. And I've been to many community coalition meetings, and her being present at them wasn't a thing that happened all the time. So I was actually kind of shocked to see her there, but I'm like, oh, it is the first one of the year, so maybe she's coming because we do have new people. I don't know, but we did address this position. There's nothing that was said in that meeting that's worth repeating here because it's just saying what this post says. We're reimagining. We need this. DEI work is everybody's work. I just talked about this. But there's more to it than just that. Oh, but there's more. So let's see what the district wrote on its website about this new reimagined position. The district says, Washington Township School has had prior DEI consultants and a director of DEI in recent years supporting this district-wide work. When the former director of DEI resigned in June 2023, it allowed an opportunity for Washington Township Schools to reimagine the best support structures to build upon our existing equity work moving forward. During the reimagining timeframe, the school board approved a temporary agreement for DEI consultation that ends in December 2023. The comprehensive hiring process for the chief academic and DEI officer will commence in September and conclude towards the end of the semester. So, something doesn't sound right. You have Dr. EBR saying on her website that she's sitting in a meeting. Her role doesn't exist in the organizational charts. She was offered something else different to do, and she didn't feel that that was a feasible thing to do. So I don't know if that was that reimagined position or whatever it was because she didn't share those details. And now the narrative is like, oh, this person resigned from their role, and now we're going to bring this new role back. No, what it sounds like happened was you try to take someone that already had a district level administration job, add more stuff on their plate, and then when they said no, now you're saying that, oh, we're going to reimagine. Because if it was just about continuing the equity work, when somebody resigns, you just post their job. So why wasn't the job just posted if that was the thing? It sounded like if Dr. EBR took on whatever this new role was, that there wouldn't be an equity and inclusion officer in Washington Township. And it sounds like because people are now starting to ask questions, we're going to come up with this convoluted role of academic officer and DEI officer. One salary, but two great roles, because that's what it sounds like. And I feel sorry for anybody that even wants to come to our district and take a role like that was created in this mess. As a parent in Washington Township, I am asking for the district to be more transparent. And what I mean by that, let's stop switching stuff on the website, then doing cleanup in the back end, trying to explain stuff away. Communicate to us up front. If the equity position was not the way that you wanted it to be, then why did you create it like that in the first place? If the consultants weren't working, why did you hire them in the first place? I need some accountability here because our taxes are too damn high because you have had passed so many damn referendums and all we're getting is no communication, not the best transportation, not consistent teaching and learning across the school district, and then you're swapping out roles. Like, I bet if you poll parents right now, how many of them will even know that we've moved from having a director of elementary education and a director of secondary education to now these three directors of teaching and learning, one for elementary, one for middle level, one for high school level. As a tax-paying citizen, as a resident of Washington Township, I want better. And yes, I do plan to stay on the community coalition because I do want to be part of the solution. But if you love something, because that's why I'm in this district, that's why I'm supporting this public school district, if you love something and you care about it, you're not going to sit here and hold your tongue. There's some shady stuff going on, and I'm going to need Washington Township to do a little bit better talking about we reimagining and DEI is everybody's work. Because let's talk to some parents to find out how that everybody work is going in Washington Township. Because my own kids have had enough experiences in Washington Township where I can tell you that it ain't working in the way that you want it to work. It isn't. So if you're a Washington Township parent, I would love to hear from you. How do you feel about all these changes in the district? How do you feel about the type of communication? Because they're communicating, but they're communicating strategically. How do you feel about that? And what do you want to see from the district? What do you want to see from the school board? Because there's another part of me that's like, what is the school board saying? Because, look, I'm just going to say this. I know that there's mess going on at HSC, but at least you know what the school board's thinking. And I don't even support all that foolery. Don't even get me started on that. I don't know what our school board thinks. They don't seem to have much of an opinion about anything. So let's discuss.